May I have your attention, please? It's 6:32, and I'm calling this regular meeting of the Sabine Board of Trustees to order on Monday, October 10th, 2016. The meeting was posted on Friday, October 7th. If you will stand with me, unless another board member wants to offer the invitation, I will ask any of you that want to join with me in the Lord's Prayer to do so. Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread. Forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. Lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, the power, and the glory forever. Amen. And the pledge to the American flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Honor and Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible. We welcome you to this meeting. We have people who have signed up to speak in the open forum. The first speaker is Cindy Bryce. Her topic is respect and disrespect. Mr. Raymond will keep time and always warn the speaker when they have 1 minute remaining.
Before I begin, I want to assure certain board members and certain individuals in this audience that no one has asked me, forced me, or is making me stand here today to say what I'm going to say. I do know that some of you sitting on the stage tonight won't believe this, but at this point, you know what? It really doesn't matter. For those of you who do know me, who don't know me, my name is Cindy Bryce, and my husband is the superintendent of Sabine ISD. I have never felt a need to get involved in school board meetings until this recent board was formed. It all began the night 4 board members voted against an instructional technology specialist, and from then on, it continued to worsen. And why was it that you voted against this recommendation? Was it because the superintendent recommended it? Our district provided teachers with the hardware needed so that our students could compete in the 21st century. Our teachers also knew that soon they would be evaluated with an instrument in which technology would be a vital part. Logically, the next step would be hiring an instructional technologist. Technology is a lot more than a whiteboard and a projector in a math classroom, or students having access to a workstation or an iPad or a Chromebook. It isn't just giving a website or two and telling students to write a paper. It's a lot more. It's s'mores, it's Plickers, it's Google Classroom, and so much more. We needed a specialist that would help our teachers prepare our students. And call it what you want, Mr. Taylor, but it would be nice to help make their job easier. Some of you truly have no idea what it is to walk in the shoes of a teacher, and others evidently must have forgotten. The superintendent and technology director had a vision of hiring a person to be there to help our teachers and students move forward. 4 of you wanted no part of it. Why was that? Was it because you thought this was a way to intentionally hurt the superintendent? Instead, it backfired because you ended up hurting 1,437 students and the teachers in this district. How is it that you have so much hatred toward Mr. Bryce, that you use your role as a school board member to try to get to him at the expense of our precious children in this district? Never in my life have I ever seen so much hatred and disrespect. I've listened to lie after lie after lie being told about the superintendent and other administrators in this district. I have watched you accuse my husband of things that I could not even imagine how or why anyone would think such thoughts about a person. You, and when I say you, I'm referring to 4 certain board members. The four of you chose to spend $30,000 to hire some individual to investigate items that you felt my husband did that were illegal. This hatred, these accusations against my husband, is it because of something some of you have experienced in your life? Maybe in your own job? It is beyond ridiculous how some are in denial of their own shortcomings and try to shift blame to others. Most in the community know that the topics chosen to be investigated were chosen by certain board members. And then Mr. Sutherland was giving the names of who to question by the same board members. Whatever, no one had anything to hide, and if you would have done your homework before spending all that money, you would have realized that. What really is by far one of the most unprofessional actions, and what really made most in our community see your true colors, was that this so-called professional auditor chose or was told to go to Bo Camp's house to question someone. Why would he go there to question anyone, especially the individual's house that is the probable cause of this circus? Yet individuals were not allowed to record the session when they were interrogated. The same board members wonder why we have so many people at the board meetings. Yet you blame the superintendent. You accuse him of making these individuals attend these meetings. Do you really think he can make people attend meetings? I think the time has come for some of you to stop and take a look in the mirror, and you'll see why they come. The final straw, the reason I decided to speak in front of everyone was because of the last board meeting. I watched and listened to the accusing words Mr. Sutherland said about my husband. A felony? He actually used those words. Then Mrs. Wright decides that she doesn't think that Mr. Bryce has the right to say what he has planned to say, even if it's on the agenda, and then makes an illegal straw poll during a board meeting. Really? And then, of course, you bring my daughter into it. Why didn't you just make a phone call to find out the facts? I know who it was that brought this topic into the forefront. My job's not to try to figure it all out. It belongs to someone else. I'm sure it all come out at a later date. I'm sure a lot will come out. The meanness, hatred, and bitterness that some of you spew at my husband is more of a reflection of your heart than his. How sad that you have allowed one person in this community to control you and not allow you to truly know my husband. We teach our students about the evils of bullying. What an example you have set. Many have asked and wondered why my husband didn't just walk away from this mess. Well, you see, my husband has a passion for this district, a passion to make it the best district it can be, each year making it better than the year before. He wasn't here to use Sabine as a stepping stone to move on, as some superintendents might. But then when he looks out into the audience and he sees so many people that also have the same passion he does, he knows he's right where God wants him to be. And one more thing. We were told that Region 7 had a phone call from Mr. Bo Camp. Mr. Bryce was chosen by the 96 superintendents in Region 7 to be in the Commissioner's Cabinet. Please pass this information on to Bo Camp, since he was the one who called Region 7 and the state to inquire. Thank you.
Our next speaker is Chris Bartomet, Board Governance and Sabine High School Achievement.
Chris, I'll tell you in a minute. Like I'm going to stop. It's good to be home. Good to be home. Like most Liberty City residents, I was appalled at the most recent accusations made against the Sabine ISD, its administrators and teachers. A Facebook page titled Cardinal Power asserted a litany of allegations, innuendo, slander, little more than baseless conjecture, penned by a group of abstract liars. This kind of conduct is not surprising, as the content of the Cardinal Power website is in lockstep with the vile and vindictive tone established by the majority faction of this school board. They won't look at me, but I will absolutely look at them. It has been close to 2 years since the board has considered anything of substance relating to student performance. Undoubtedly, all school staff, and most importantly, the students of the Sabine ISD, have suffered mightily because of the childlike actions of a faction of this board and its very small contingent of backers, most of whom hide behind anonymous screen names on social media sites and do nothing but undermine the wonderful employees of this district and the children they serve. Tens of thousands of tax dollars long gone. The public relations hit irrevocable for both the district and its administrative team. And still, our most precious resource, the roughly 1,400 students served by the SISD, hang in the balance. Can you imagine what new members of our community, young families whose presence and participation in Liberty City and SISD matters are essential for the long-term well-being of our community, must make of all of this? How do they reconcile the utter contempt directed at Mr. Bryce and the SISD administrative team after all of the success the district has enjoyed under his direction? It is impossible to justify the actions of those so blinded by rage and consumed by their own personal and professional failures. So to objectively evaluate the state of our school, one should look no further than the empirical data published each year by the state. In the state's last appraisal of Sabine High School, SHS received distinctions in math, science, and English. Of the many superlatives earned by the campus, perhaps the most impressive was the distinction earned for closing the achievement gap. This is arguably the most coveted of all awards issued by the Texas Education Agency. In consideration of this award, each campus is assigned a unique comparison group of 40 other public schools from anywhere in the state that closely match our campus type, size, percent economically disadvantaged, and mobility rates. That's based on cumulative attendance. And the percent of students with limited English proficiency. In short, SHS belongs to a small group of elite campuses, TEA's words, not mine, that have demonstrated sustained excellence in helping at-risk students surpass local and state expectations. This is one of only a number of facts that debunk the myth circulating around our community that the SISD only cares about a privileged few. A quick survey of the UIL academic team, including the state championship UIL calculator apps team, shows a vibrant and diverse group that represents some of the most accomplished students in our region. The SHS Art Club is also a powerful representation of the effort that SHS teachers and staff put in to give all students, male or female, black, white, Hispanic alike, equal opportunities to succeed. Of the many talented artists in that group, one student showed particular promise, earning the top prize at the regional visual and scholastic arts competition and advancing and placing in the state level competition. It was quite an honor for that student and the student's teacher, Ms. Jennifer Davis. That student happens to be a minority and happens to fall into other subpopulations monitored by the TEA as well. But to interject that into the narrative only diminishes and it marginalizes the tremendous accomplishments of that young man. The ongoing efforts of President Wright, board members Kenna, Pickle, and Taylor, the Cardinal Power Group, and board candidates for next month's election, Mary Russell, Mr. and Mrs. Smitherman, and Mr. Modisette, are employing the worst and most divisive style of politics to justify their attempts to derail our district and the community we love. Using race and socioeconomics to further divide our fragmented community is unconscionable. It is particularly deplorable given the fact that SISD goes to great measures to ensure that all students have every opportunity to flourish, find security, and have happiness.
30 seconds.
These facts pose an inconvenient truth to the adversaries of our district and its employees. The facts show that students of all colors, creeds, and socioeconomic statuses are flourishing under the direction of the current administration. The school needs the support of a stable, sound, and responsible board whose only vested interest is the well-being of our students. The community cannot continue with the status quo, nor can we afford to elect board members who joined on a whim or who sadly have a track record of abandoning their students when they needed them the most. I ask sitting members Wright, Kenna, Taylor, and Pickle to repudiate the baseless accusations offered by the Cardinal Power Group. I would encourage you to do so this evening. Thank you for the opportunity.
Mr. Ross has several under this section of the agenda.
Okay, first of all, the TASB legal seminar is coming up November the 9th in Nacogdoches. If there is a board member that wishes to attend that, you need to let me know so I can get you registered for that. Again, that's November the 9th in Nacogdoches. Also, another big event that we're always proud to put on here at Sabine That is Honor America Night. That is November the 8th, and we will have hot dogs and drinks and all of that before the fireworks show, and you know that the fireworks show is always outstanding. So we would invite all of you to attend that after election. You know, that's election day, so get your voting in early and then come to Honor America Night. And then, well, that's all I have on that if you want to cover accounts payable at this time.
Is there any questions about the accounts payable?
Okay, if there are no questions on that, then I would like to, you know, we recognize teachers and staff for the outstanding job that they do each and every day. We don't get the opportunity to recognize them enough because they're in the trenches working hard every day, and I will put administrators in that category also. And if you've not been there in those shoes, it's hard for you to even imagine what it's like. But we're extremely proud of our staff, and I do want to recognize some tonight that don't get a lot of recognition, and that is our food service department. Our food service department, we had a state health inspection the other day, about 2 weeks ago, and that's extremely stringent when the state health department comes in to look at the cafeterias, look at the kitchen, the cleanliness, and the processes. And I'm proud to say that these ladies in there had a perfect score in all areas. Those ladies, sometimes they have a thankless job, but that just goes to show what they are doing each and every day. They care about those kids, and they're going to take care of their business in the cafeteria, and they do an excellent job at it.
The consent items are usually acted on as a group unless a board member wants to separate something to be talked about separately. And I would like to separate the minutes. This is just a general comment and about the minutes. When I review some of them, I see that long after they've been posted to our website, that they are amended. When I started looking at the amended version comparing to the original, it seemed that the only thing we had taken out was the board member who had made a motion or seconded the motion. And it seemed like that was what TASB was recommending as the proper way to do minutes. But I noticed that we're back to putting that information in. So, do we need to do that or not do that?
Yeah, I don't
Okay,
really
when the minutes
understand
were
your question.
amended, you have to go back and look at some of the amended minutes from in the past. And the amended version compared to the original version, the only difference I would detect is that we had omitted who the board member's name that made a motion or seconded the motion. And I noticed that now we're back to putting that information back in the minutes and wondered why we took it out to begin with. So that was an observation.
In other words, why were the minutes amended to begin with?
Well, yes, there seemed to be a reason, but now that reason's no longer there. Can you speak to that on there?
I'm really not following this conversation, I'm sorry.
You amended some minutes, is what she's talking about. And she's wanting to know why they were amended, and the reason apparently was that you amended them. She's wanting to know why, and then you stopped amending
No,
them.
I don't know that Andrea amended them. It might be a computer, an IT person, but it just seemed like that there was a cleanup of some minutes. And each time the board member's name that moved And the person who seconded it, that information was deleted in the amended version. And that went on for quite some time, but now, recently, that information is back in the minutes. So either it needs to be there or it doesn't, but it seems like that there should be some consistency.
I'm not sure which, like tonight's minutes just include, or tonight, we're just talking about September 12th, which was last month. We haven't even approved it yet, so
Right, so I said.
I don't know if
the
there's
first time-
anything amended in it.
There isn't yet. I said I wanted to make a statement just in general about our minutes. That was the general statement. Now, if you want to speak to September the 12th, I want to call your attention to the top of the second page. There's an opinion, this is an opinion, but there seems to be a definite amount of bias in your, how you worded, you called it a lot of back and forth between Paul, Tony, and Don Sutherland. See video for details, but then you used much stronger language when you wanted to speak about the next one. And Mr. Bryce and Mr. Yangle being refused the right to speak. At the very least, I want the phrase, see the video for details added to that.
So how would you like for that to read?
You can just end it after she said she didn't think it was proper for them to talk and say, see video for details. Cut out all the rest of that.
Ms. Wright questioned each board member whether they wanted Mr. Bryce and Mr. Yangle to speak or not. So you just want me to
It's on
leave
the
it at
video.
that? So why don't you want to put that 4 said no and 3 said yes? Or 3 stated that it was on the agenda to go ahead? I guess I don't understand.
I don't
That's
know.
what happened.
There was a lot more that happened in the back and forth between Paul
There
and
is,
Tony and Don
but I will tell
Sutherland.
you, Rusty, that back and forth was going rather 90 to nothing, and I could not keep up with writing it, so that's why I finally said, lots of back and forth, see the video. I'm not typing, I'm writing, and I'm not a stenographer.
Ms. Bates and Mr. Taylor, if you will add see video for details,
So you want me to just end it with asked to speak or not, and then just
I
put
did
see
not,
details?
I did not say that. I'm saying add see video for details.
Just to leave it like it is, but just ask, see, just add that to it.
Yes, if you're going to give the reader instructions to go to a video to see what was referred to as back and forth, and we know it was much more than that, then they need to see the whole scenario on this other also. So,
I'm sorry you felt that that was against you in some form or fashion. I promise you it was not.
thank you. So with that sentence being added, is there a motion to, well, first of all, is there any discussion of the tax collections or investment report?
So we're voting on the entire consent item?
If that sentence is being added with that one sentence. So with that one sentence being added, see video for details. Is there a motion to accept the 3 consent items?
Yes.
Mr. Franklin moved and Mr. Raymond seconded. And all in favor, show of hands. 7. So it was passed unanimously. Moving to the action items.
Okay, action item A, discuss and approve resolution to utilize the PACE purchasing co-op. This is something that is very similar to the Region 7 purchasing co-op that we use and buy board that we also use. One thing that we found out, there are several items that sometimes the district is needing and purchasing that is not necessarily the cheapest price through Region 7. So this will give us another option to look at better pricing on some of the items. For example, and Kevin, I'm going to let you discuss this here in a minute, but example, many times you can look and there will be a baseball bat that's going to be ordered for athletics and it's $350 at all of the sporting outlet stores. Well, if you look at Amazon, the same baseball bat may be $150. So we're limited. We're not getting our best deal on spending some of the money if we continue this way. So this gives us another option to look at saving more money, in other words. Kevin, you can go ahead now and discuss that item in more detail if you need to.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Bryce. This is, as far as I know, the only purchasing co-op in the state that has Amazon.com on it. In addition to what Mr. Bryce has mentioned, we've also had instances of instructional materials that have been needed for particular classes that Amazon has been the only site that they've been able to find them on. And since we've not had access to Amazon, the teacher or instructors have had to go to other plans or other ways to teach what they wanted to with what they could have bought on Amazon. There are also items in the journalism area related to camera equipment, video equipment that are similar to what Mr. Bryce said with the baseball bat, that are much, much cheaper if you go on Amazon.com than if you have to go to one of our other vendors that are on either Region 7 or Board. And it's just become so much of a necessity for us to be able to have access to this. That's why I brought it to be put on the agenda to ask the board to add PACE co-op to our options of purchasing.
Did we have Tiger Direct for Region 7 or 8? Was Tiger Direct part of Region 7 or Region 8, either one?
We don't have access to Region 8. I'd have to go on to Region 7's website.
I don't think Tiger Direct's on there. Anyway, Tiger Direct's on there too. That's for Randy.
How do these region service centers benefit from these co-ops that they put together?
The region, imagine the co-op charges the vendors a fee, either a flat fee or a commission based on the amount of sales that the vendor receives through the co-op. Region 7 charges the districts a fee to take care of that. I'm not seeing exactly how the PACE co-op does it, but I do know that they do not charge the districts any fee to join the PACE co-op.
My company is part of several of those type of situations, and there are several of them that we have to pay either a flat fee or a 3% fee at the end of the year for anything that was purchased through that program. And it's still better for us, but it's, like I said, Region 7 just charges a certain amount every year to be on the list, where other people charge us 3% of the year of what our annual sales were.
And that's the good thing about the PACE, it charges us absolutely zero.
The district doesn't charge vendors.
Right.
And you did say no fee to join or participate like our packet says.
That is correct.
Is this Region 20?
Yes, ma'am. This particular co-op was initiated by Region 13 and by Region 20 and is now administered by Region 20 out of San Antonio. But they do their bids for their categories on a national basis, and they're advertised in the USA Today newspaper for 2 weeks in a row in order to get the vendors that are on their bid list.
If there aren't any more questions or discussion, I would make a motion to approve the resolution with PACE. Recommendation, not motion.
Okay, you've heard Mr. Bryce's recommendation. Is there a motion? Mr. Franklin, is there a second? Mr. Raymond, any question before we vote? All in favor, a show of hands? Unanimous. The motion passed. And our last item on the action is to discuss, approve, authorizing Karen Jacks, our external accountant, to, I'm sorry. Item B, approve purchases exceeding $25,000. Thank you.
Okay, this purchase, as in your memo states, it is Title I money, and that Title I money has restraints on it on how it can be used. But anyway, that entitlement is given to the district each year. And this year, we are using a lot of the money that's in Title I going toward adding more technology to the campuses. The technology that we're wanting to add to the high school will be under the $25,000 purchase limit. But now that at the last board meeting, we moved that limit from 50,000 down to 25,000. The middle school and the elementary school technology needs are each going to be above the $25,000 range, so that's why we're bringing this to the board. And you can see there what it's going to be used for mostly the Chromebooks and cards, of course, related to that. And the quotes are $39,000 for the middle school and $32,500 for the elementary campus. And Kevin, if you have anything to add, please do.
I think you fully explained what's plans.
Do any board members have a question? Okay.
Then I would make a recommendation to approve the two purchases.
Is there a
At
motion to
CD
that
level.
effect? Okay, Mr. Kenna moved that we approve these two purchases. Ms. Pickle seconded. All in favor, raise your hand. And it's unanimous. Now we're to item C. And that reads, discuss, approve, authorizing Karen Jacks, our external accountant, to speak to Don Sutherland regarding his investigations. And speaking with Ms. Jacks, she just indicated that she needs the board approval and that she would want this approval to put in any reservations, any restrictions that we wanted to place on it. So open the floor for discussion.
Hello. I would just like to, when we approve this, I assume it's going to be approved, but just afford Ms. Jacks the opportunity to record that part of the investigation as it's going on, just to keep her or help her from finding herself in a situation where she's being misquoted.
I've talked with her several times. That was not one of the things that she called to my attention. The most important thing to her was the time frame. Now, not the length of the interview, but the years that he would be questioning. And I told her I wasn't speaking for the board, but surely it was in line with the rest of the investigation, the last 3 years, and no more than that. But that was the thing she called to my attention.
Are we paying for her time while she's interviewed by Sutherland?
Yes. She did not give a price. She said professional time.
Well, I think we received documents showing that everyone does have a right to record those interviews if they so wish. So I would just like for us to be able to afford her that opportunity if she so chooses, or if she decides to have legal counsel there with her.
Well, she certainly
If she
can have-
chooses.
If she certainly can have the counsel. And if she takes the recording, then there may not be an interview, but that will be between the two people. We haven't done it. We approved Mr. Sutherland to do this investigation, and he needs to be allowed to do it his way. And if there's an objection, then they just don't have the interview, if that's a problem with her. But she cannot even talk to him without permission.
Well, I think we've already been told that he's not been following the ethics that are set out in his code of conduct. So,
Well, we've been told, but there are differences of opinion.
well, the only opinions I've heard are the two attorneys that sent us letters and the attorney that was working for us as of yesterday, so.
They're both opinions. Rest assured. Still opinion.
She said that she didn't intend for this to be a formal resolution, that she just needed a statement from the board from an open meeting that she had our permission to be interviewed by him. Yes, but I think that because the time was important to her, we probably need to include that.
I'm sorry, I didn't know.
Well, she didn't want it to be open-ended, to go back from the very first time she ever audited the school. She asked about the time frame that he would be asking questions.
He told us the other day he's only looking at 3 years.
Which is what I just said.
But let's say what 3 years is on.
That seems to be the right thing to do.
So is that 16, 15, and 14?
I think it's the 12-13 school year. I mean, are we gonna do school years, calendar years?
The 12-13, 13-14, and 14-15.
15-16.
Not 15, this is 15-16. Are you on this year? This is 16-17,
Why
okay.
can't we just tell him to stay within his original scope?
And, you know, just as a reminder, it was Mr. Sutherland that set that scope at 3 years.
Oh, I know, but I'm just saying, that's what he said. And
He narrowed
let's
it
give her
down
the
to
same,
that. So,
give her the same
okay, who made the suggestion, the scope identified in the original engagement letter? Did someone say that? Will you put that in the form of a motion?
I guess I'm gonna, I make a motion that we allow Ms. Jacks to speak, be interviewed by Mr. Don Sutherland. The time will be within his original scope stated in his letter.
You've heard Mr. Taylor's motion. Is there a second? Ms. Pickle seconded. All in favor, raise your hand. Mr. Kenna, Ms. Pickle, Mr. Taylor, Ms. Wright, and all opposed? Mr. Raymond, Mr. Franklin, and Ms. Bates is not voting. The motion carries. This covers our agenda through item 7. We will not be doing item 8 and 9. We have no legal counsel to consult with, and we will be asking for a motion to adjourn if there's no further discussion. I saw Mr. Kenna move that we adjourn, and I'm seconding it. And all in favor for adjournment?